We are at Bournemouth University asking students questions about immigration and refugee status. So if someone arrives in Britain illegally, are they a refugee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, isn't that...
No.
Isn't anyone arriving in England from any country, whether legally
Yes.
or illegally, aren't they then a refugee?
Yes.
I can't say I know way too much on the matter, but I know obviously that there's been quite a few crises, and I think I think everyone should be welcome, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it should be made illegal to be a refugee.
If someone were to enter Britain illegally, does that make them a refugee?
Oh, well, okay. We don't really know the definition of refugee, so we can't entirely say that they are or they aren't. So,
Yeah, because they've been forced out their country due to war, so they have come to us for safety, even if it is illegally.
Okay, cool.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, it sounds like you might know what you're talking about in terms of the legal aspect.
Partly, yes. I think so. Mostly, yes, probably.
Okay, so if someone enters, we are an island after all. We have an advantage there. So if you are arriving illegally, that doesn't necessarily make you a refugee, no?
No.
If someone arrives in Britain illegally, does that make them a refugee?
I would say so.
Entering Britain illegally, refugees, because the country's divided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who should house the refugee if that's true, who should house them? Is it the job of the government?
The council.
The council?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone willing to take them in.
Okay. Would you house an immigrant, for example?
Not right now at uni, obviously, but when once we're qualified, then yeah, go on then. If I've got spare room, no one's going to use it.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah, if I had the facility to do so.
Go. Who should pay for refugees in that respect? Just like you and I cost X amount per day to be clothed, housed, fed, etc.
I would say the government, but the government's...
No, but it's a fair answer though. The
Yeah.
government, there's three answers, I think. Government's one.
I mean, realistically, the other thing here is, obviously, the government is one of the ones that would, but again, they get their money from us anyway, so in a roundabout way, we're paying for it.
Sure.
But then you think about the other kind of big places that money is stored in the UK is one in the monarchy, and two just in large businesses. Realistically, there should be some way that they should be kind of responsible for it, especially where you think about the monarchy. In theory, it's above Parliament, it's above the government. Realistically, with their wealth and kind of outreach, they should be able to do more about it.
Would you house an immigrant? If you had the facility, sorry. Obviously, you have to have the facility.
Yeah, no. Being a student, I don't have anywhere. I've barely got enough room for myself. But yes, if I had the facilities to, then yes.
Yeah, same. People are people at the end of the day. We're social creatures. Why wouldn't you?
Would you house an immigrant?
If I had the option, I would.
So again, arriving illegally, classifying them as a refugee, who should fund that?
Oh, I mean, I think before we start housing refugees, we should sort out the homeless issue in England, and the government should be doing that. There's so many empty buildings in England that can be used, but the government just don't.
But who should fund it? So taxpayer?
Yeah.
Through taxation?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think
What
so.
do you think, Casey? Because the money's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think it should come from the people in the government, because they don't tax themselves and they get a ridiculous amount of money and the taxpayer doesn't. So I think they should maybe tax themselves and then use money from their massive wage to help everyone else, because they don't need it.
No, it's fair enough. Would you house an immigrant?
Absolutely. If I had space, I would.
And what about illegal immigrants? Who should pay for those? They arrive here illegally. Who should pay for them?
Must be government as well, because I wouldn't know where else to put it.
Because it's an incredibly expensive operation.
The government has to expect, if they have a strong economy, they have to expect that people will try and get into that country. So, like, I work in a bar, right? I'm a student. I'm just trying to live my life, right? So I don't think that financial burden should be on me because I am giving money to the government for them to deal with things like that.
Through taxation, we should house an immigrant.
The government.
Typically, that would be done through taxation rather than their own money.
Yes.
Would you house a refugee?
Again, depends on my circumstances.
Once they're here, they need to be fed, clothed, watered, housed. Just like we cost money, who should pay for them?
I don't really know. I guess, people who want to help out.
Charities?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe the government have a bit of money they can sort of give to these charities to help them out, or just families that want to take them in and help them out themselves.
So the most common answer would be charity, government, but where does the majority of the money come from to pay for anything ever? Taxation, right?
Yeah.
Amongst a populace. So would you be happy with housing people who arrived illegally under the possible definition that they may be refugees? Would you be okay with taxpayer money funding that?
Depends how much and how it comes out and stuff, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really know much to say anything, if that makes sense.
Sure, but we're making students think.
Yeah.
So, for example, you and I, we have unless you're bodybuilding, you have 3 square meals a day, right? You have hot water, electric, clothes. So one question I think is to ask, how much does it cost to be alive as an 18-year-old or 18 to death? How much does it cost per day? Is it £20 a day? Is it £50 a day? Is it £100 a day? Depends on, but basic bare minimum, it's getting students thinking about that. What are your thoughts on that, about taxation and who should pay for, if they were to be classified as refugees coming in illegally, who should pay? Should it be through taxation?
It's hard because obviously not everyone's wanting to help out those refugees, but then obviously most people pay tax, and not everyone's going to be happy with giving a bit of their money to the refugees if they don't want to help.
Sure. Would you house an immigrant?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
If you had the facility, of course.
If I had the facilities, probably for a bit until they find a job and stuff, but that's only if I have the facilities. But right now I don't, so I can't really say because we're a student and stuff. But if I was older, had a family, had a spare room and stuff like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think I would, just until they get back on their feet, just to help them out.
Do you know who Gary Lineker is?
Sounds familiar. Is that the guy from
ex-England football player?
The Walker's Packet?
Yeah, and Chris as well. You know his political stance. He drones on and on and on about everything that we should be doing and how evil and immoral we are. And do you know his net worth?
No, I don't know.
Probably millions.
Yeah. Something like that. And do you know how many illegal immigrants he houses?
No, I don't. How many?
0.
0. Oh.
But that's all he talks about.
Oh, well, that's weird.
You've been amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Based on that, who should pay for those refugees?
So I think in terms of everyone pays tax, I think obviously when British people go to other countries, they're covered and you have insurance and stuff like that. So I think maybe coming out of taxes, we do pay a lot already, so it would probably make sense to come out of a fund like that, but also having a fund created by the government would be really beneficial and helpful.
Sure. Would you house an immigrant?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay, I think the question here is if you'll be able to house an immigrant. As a very big question, especially being a student, but I love how these guys approach the question, if they are financially okay, they will do that. I just hope it's not because of the camera, but we have to be human first. Whatever make a person leave their country, aside from, let's say, war, or maybe they are being threatened. I've seen so many people leave because of threats and they are feeling unsafe in their country. But aside from that, people might decide to, but it still does not justify the reason why you should enter a country legally. I think when issues arises in countries, I've seen countries that have experienced natural disaster or maybe war, and some country opt that if you want to come to their country, they are open, their borders are open for you to come in. And people do it. When you do that, you're a refugee. Then they will look for a way to blend into the society by introducing you to some certain skill, teaching you their language, and making sure that you have something doing before you're able to you are being exposed to their country and you can move freely. And I think that is the right way of doing things, whereby countries opt to help. I know some developed countries are doing that already, and they're also sending money even to developing countries just to help out. And it's happening. I've seen so many people do that, and it's not an easy job, because if your country decides to bring in immigrants, or let me not say illegal immigrants, if they're able to bring in immigrants, you are going to pay more in tax, because those people are supposed to eat, they are supposed to, have a place to sleep, have a steady light, heat, and so many other things, including clothing. So you're going to pay more in tax. So it's all boiled down to how we are able to help each other, But I would not advise anyone to just wake up one morning, pick your bag, cross through the Red Sea, then pop in someone's country claiming you want to enter the country because of how you are living your life in whatever country you're coming from. I feel if you're going to a country, the best thing is to go the right way. So when you are in the country, you have freedom to do whatever you want to do. You won't be let's say a refugee or an illegal immigrant. Anyway, this is a beautiful one. I just love how these students were able to, express themselves, being so compassionate and, kind-hearted. And I love the kind of question he asked them, we have to be human first before anything. Let me know what you take in the comment section. If it's your first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I remain blessed.